This is Butternut Squash. That's watermelon. And some more watermelons over here. And late starts over there getting up. There's some more watermelon here. And some more here. And there. And there. Zucchini. If I get my shadow out of it. It's coming up. These are some cucumbers I recently planted. Coming up. And a tomato on the back corner. And a surprise lily. I didn't know it was back here. And it's blooming. The onions are bulbing. They're bulbing up real nice. Doing good. This is the oregano, which comes back every year. Borage. The bush beans are popping up. A couple of them came up early. And the rest of them are coming up. These are the shelling peas. A whole bunch of them. They're so heavy that they don't climb up too high. But you can see they're nice size peas. Our first blueberries are starting to get ripe. First blueberries of the season. There's some more back in there.
Down here?
And down here, yeah. Yum! If you're allergic to poison ivy and you see this plant growing, see the little blooms? This is jewelweed. Jewelweed removes the poison ivy oil from your skin. So you have to just grab some leaves and rub them on the spot where you touched poison ivy and you won't get it. Fires have just about bloomed out. Still got some blooms on them. They'll be going to seed and reseeding themselves. And down here we have the phlox and some nasturtiums are popping up. So that'll be pretty. Have some pretty blooms in there. And the cucumber row is looking pretty good. And it got pretty hot on them last couple of days. And it's going to get hot again. So make sure you water your cucumbers with warm water. They don't like cold water. Use warm. And feed your cucumbers. Peppers are looking really good. I see a few blooms in there, so they'll be having peppers soon. And the potatoes in the box. They are growing. We got to get some more straw and put in there. When you're in your garden and you're working with your cucumbers, you want to remove any of the crappy looking leaves because they just kind of take away from the plant's strength. And once those leaves are trimmed off, as you can see, I've got some dust on my cucumbers. once you trim off the stuff that's not healthy, then the plant can concentrate on sending its nourishment to the healthier parts of the plant and producing fruit. I most generally remove the little leaves, the first 2 little leaves that come up, because they really don't do anything for the plant. And if a plant has a bad leaf on it, like, say like this leaf here, that's not too bad, but I would go ahead and trim that off, especially with it being as young as it is. These plants have only been in the ground for a little over a week. So that's how you get your cucumbers going and getting them climbing. Remove the lower leaves. Waiting for the storms to pass. These are the beans. These are the Oriental noodle beans coming up, and on the other side they're later because it's wetter over there. For some reason they're later. And then those are the bush beans coming up. Looks like one of them needs to be powdered. Maybe a couple of them. And over here, I've started, this is my nursery. This is a flower nursery. These are all flowers coming up with a few weeds here and there. So I'll see how they do. Cucumbers are coming up over here. And these are the wetter side over here. And for some reason the wetter side just takes longer for the plants to come up. Go figure. But these bad boys are getting out of control. These are the Butternut Squash, and they're getting pretty big. I'm really impressed. And on the other side of the fence are watermelons and a zucchini squash up there. There's some moonflowers coming up there. Some geraniums. That's probably a zinnia. This is a tomato plant. And there's more tomatoes over on the other side. As you can see, these are delphiniums that, no, not delphiniums. Yeah, maybe it is delphiniums. They're not doing too good. They've been hit by the heat. They don't like it, but the tomatoes are loving it. They don't seem to be too worried about the heat, which is a good thing. More geraniums. And there's a few under here that are little. And the dill is coming up down there. I don't know if you can see it or not. And of course, the herb garden hasn't started yet. But it will before long. And the blueberries. These are the first year on these, and they've got blueberries on them. My old blueberry plants are loaded. The banana trees all 5 of them. That just tickles me that 5 came up. I didn't think one would live in Ohio, but hey, who am I to say? These are some starts that I've got going. Things I'm sprouting. And over here are cucumbers and sunflowers. And there's some onions down at the end. I have been really busy. I put a shade cloth up and I put it over them when it's really hot. 'Cause that sun is killer, I'll tell you. And then I've got some little tomato plants down here coming up. And over there is another row, and behind that is the Malabar Spinach. It's just now coming up. It takes time, kids. You plant it and you wait. These are banana peppers over here, and in between I planted flowers, which aren't up yet, but they will be. So follow me on my journey. Here's a tomato over here, some beans back there, just because I had a place to put them. There's some little tiny tomatoes down here. They're just getting started. And some things over there, tomatoes and who knows. Some basil. I actually planted some basil. I don't think I planted any last year. But I got a whole pile of corn in too. And it's the 60-day corn. So we'll see if it comes up. And that's more spinach there. This is the zucchini. It's just getting started. And the watermelon, just getting started. There's a tomato, that's a fir, silver fir tomato. That's watermelon. This, the stake got knocked over. There's a squash, some squash seeds I planted. Another watermelon, another watermelon. Can't have enough watermelons. And in this mess back here are some Cherokee tan pumpkins, I think, if that's what I planted there. I should use labels, right? I have labels, right? They're laying around. Why don't I use them? These guys are a riot. It won't be long. Yeah, yeah. As the Beatles said. So, that's it for now. Oh. This is the carrot and onion bed. Leftover carrots for the guinea pigs. This is a sweet potato bed, and so is that over there. But that one went in after this one. This one's doing nice. And the potato bed needed more dirt. I didn't add dirt. So, yeah. It's on me. Here's a couple of tubs that I planted with sweet potatoes. There's a couple of weeds in there too. And a Cherokee bell pepper. They make a good combination. Peppers, tomatoes, sweet potatoes. They do well together. What? 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 There's cats everywhere. These are my nasturtiums coming up. I have some more planted, but these were the first ones. Yay! These are the cucumbers. A few of them that'll climb on this trellis. What? What? You guys. And I put a little tomato down here and a little basil, just because. These are some elderberries, and we cut them back. Pretty harsh, but yeah, they're over my head again. It's just huge, way over my head. Try to get those berries, right? This year we had a lot of white clover come up. I don't know why. Every year I weed this, something else comes back. This is one of my sunflowers coming up. These are a flower, kind of a burr. They actually hurt, but they have pretty purple blooms on them just for a short while, and then they turn into burrs. But it's a flower. I actually bought it a long time ago, and it comes back every year. This is a raspberry. We dug this up because it doesn't have any thorns, and we didn't plant it. It's wild, but it's thornless, and it's producing raspberries, and I just stuck it in this thing of water, and it's doing great. We'll eventually get it in the ground. This is my other flower nursery. I just scatter the seeds and let them come up, and then once they're up, I dig them up and plant them where I want them. It's probably the easiest way to grow flowers. And behind them is jewelweed. I don't ever have to worry about poison ivy, because jewelweed neutralizes poison ivy when you get it on your skin. It's an impatient. This is jewelweed. Jewelweed has this little bloom, little orange bloom. Kind of looks like, I don't know. It's cute. But they call them touch-me-nots because the seed pods, when you touch them, they fling seeds all over the place and replant themselves. But this stuff is what you use for poison ivy. You just rub it on your skin wherever you touch poison ivy, and it neutralizes the oils. And then you don't get poison ivy. And I can swear by this stuff because I can get it just by looking at it 20 feet away. I'm very allergic. The clematis is still blooming. And so is the hosta. These are the hostas in front of the trailer that we use for storage. It's where my son lived for a while. He's in Missouri now, so whenever he decides to, he's got a place to come back to. This is in full bloom. This is a zucchini that I planted out here in front. And I dropped the seed, and wouldn't you know, it grew in the ground. And then I've got some cucumbers and things over there, and some butternut squash. And down here is some mint. We keep that in a container because mint is really invasive. These are my hostas in a tire, but you'd never know it because the hosta covers the tire. But it's blooming. It's getting ready to bloom. Happy hostas. This is my other flower nursery. I just scatter the seeds on the ground and let them come up. And then I dig them up and place them wherever I want them. I see some marigolds and some zinnias and just all kinds of stuff in there. That'll be fun. And behind it is jewelweed, speaking of. So if you're allergic to poison ivy, you want some of that. See a plantain. Roses are blooming still. As hot as it's been, I'm surprised. They're coming along. We need to get in here and really do a whole day of weeding because it needs it. But as you can see, we've been having work done and tree debris removal. So it's kind of like working around it. And my wisteria is going nuts. I'll be glad to get back to that once again. Train it. My green stalk, that's for the guinea pigs, is lettuce, and for us too. If we want some lettuce. It's doing okay. It's doing good. I haven't been tending to it. This one has some carrots in the top and a little bit of everything in it. There's even a tomato plant in there. And cucumber growing around. But green stalks are the way to go. If you haven't bought one, maybe you should. They're pretty neat. And this right here is a thornless blackberry. And it's putting on blackberry leaves. Or berries. Putting on berries. It's been blooming. And we have more in the back. Something has dug a hole in my flower bed. That's not good. I have flowers in here. Columbines and all kinds of hyacinths and different bulbs that are in here. But yeah, something definitely just did this today. Wonder what it is. Ooh. This is poke. You've heard people say poke salad? Well, that's what this is. It's poke. And it'll get little red berries on it that kind of look like a little flower. But you can boil these leaves. They're very high in vitamin A. So you have to boil it, pour it off, boil it again, pour it off, and boil it a third time to make it so that it's edible. And then it's really good. You mix it up with some scrambled eggs, and you've got a feast. It cooks down a lot like spinach. It's really good. These are my lilies, and they're blooming, even in the rain. And they got the new roof on the cabin, and the garage door, and the front door on it. And I'm very pleased with that. A lot of cleanup going on right now.